Welcome. I'm Mayor Gary Sulz, and with me today is Evan Parliament, our Chief Administrative Officer for the City of Revelstoke. Today, Evan and I are talking about Council's Strategic Priorities Chart, what it is, and how it benefits the city. So, Evan, what is a Strategic Priorities Chart, and how does it work?
Yes, good morning. So basically, 25 years ago, I had an opportunity to participate in a leadership strategic workshop in Banff, and I was introduced to the Eisenhower Matrix, which basically prioritizes tasks and has the ability to delegate certain tasks and identify priorities.
Right.
And Eisenhower, before being president, he was a general in World War II, and so he would determine what is urgent, what is important, what is urgent, what is not important, and what is not urgent and not important. And it was all about prioritizing tasks. So I've taken that matrix over the years, and I use it with staff and I use it with council to prioritize what's urgent and what's important. When you take the strategic priorities chart, you're basically identifying just that. You're identifying the now strategic priorities,
Right.
what is important and what is urgent. But most importantly, you're identifying those that are important but not urgent, more long-term stuff. Like your zoning bylaw, like your DCC bylaw, like your OCP. And back to the Eisenhower matrix, it's all about prioritizing that box. What's urgent, important, what's important but not urgent,
Right.
and then the irritating day-to-day stuff that we spend time on that we shouldn't be spending time on, which is not important, not urgent. We should get rid of that stuff.
Right.
And in government, we spend too much time on stuff that's not important, not urgent, because we react. And so the tool is an opportunity for council to stay focused, eye on the ball, and focus on the now, which is the important, urgent stuff.
So basically keeping us on track as we go through so that we don't get over into the weeds with that reactionary stuff that comes in.
Exactly. You'll find in government, because we are supposed to respond to all issues coming before the city and the community, but sometimes we have to sit back and say that's not our jurisdiction,
Right.
that is not our mandate, and yet we're spending time and resources on something that we shouldn't be. And that chart keeps you focused on the things that you can make effective change on, right? The water, the sewer, the bridges, the core services the city offers. But now with downloading, the province and the federal government saying, okay, congratulations, municipalities, you're in charge of housing, you're in charge of transit, you're in charge of homelessness. These are new priorities. And so we have to stay focused on capacity, what our resources are, to focus on those priorities. And that's what the chart helps you achieve.
Perfect. Good. Glad to hear that, because keeping us on target is really an
Yes.
important thing as we move through. So really, can you highlight some of the items that are on the chart?
Yeah, so when we had an opportunity to meet with the new council, as you know, back in December, council went through a long list.
Yep.
And then they narrowed it down to a short list. And the long list is roughly 30 priorities that we would like to pursue in the next 4 years. But we've broken it down into 3 boxes. So we have a now box, which is 2023 important urgent stuff. We have a next box, which is 2024, 2025. And then we have later box, long-term stuff. And so for the now box, the 2 most dominant are affordable housing, a new multiplex facility, the preservation of natural assets, being an employer of choice. These are things that council's focused on in the year 2023. And as you know, we've made headway on the new arena, new multiplex concept with the survey coming in. We have a report going to council in July. Affordable housing, we've held the summit. We're applying for grant funding. We're working with our partner, Revelstoke Housing Society. We're working with BC Housing. So the now box, which is the important urgent, is being focused on 2023.
And we've seen a few of those things come to fruition already in that short time since we were all elected last term. So, we're working on that, and I appreciate your diligence in making sure, and every time it comes to council, so every council meeting or every second council meeting, it's coming to council, we get to see what we've accomplished, what's dropped off, what's moved up the list, that sort of thing. So appreciating that, because that really keeps us focused. but it also shows that we're getting through that list.
Yeah.
And that's
Making
really,
progress.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect. So, we've talked about some of these things, but really, how does it benefit the city other than council for this sort of thing?
Yeah, great question. For me, the matrix and the strategic priorities chart, which is really one and the same, it's all about accountability.
Right.
So it's council being accountable to the electorate. You've been elected. You've been charged with these priorities. You need to report back to the electorate. That's what the chart does.
Right.
It shows what we're doing now, what we're doing next, and what we're doing later. Accountability for staff. It makes staff accountable, that they're focused on the council priorities. So every month, every week, staff see the same chart to make sure that their efforts and their attention are focused on the priorities that council has deemed a now priority, a next priority, and a later priority. And finally, it's also an opportunity for the corporation, with the political body council and the administrative body staff. It's an opportunity for the corporation to also report out to all our other stakeholders, the province, the federal government, all the non-for-profits, all the other groups that are involved with city operations, that we're focused on the items identified in the strategic priority chart. So accountability is the number one reason that these charts, it's just a tool, but this chart, this tool is effective. Transparency, of course, and focus, right? Council's got their eye on the ball, staff's got their eye on the ball, and the community feels more confident that we're focused on these priorities that were identified.
And so then when we go out to letting the citizens know, listen, this is what we've done. So we report that out in our council meetings, that sort of thing. But where can the citizens find this strategic priorities chart?
Yeah, no, that's a good question, because I know with so much information now and the internet and this information highway that just continues to explode, where does one find it? So what we've, at the administrative level, made it a practice. It's appended to our management team meeting agenda every Wednesday, so staff see it. But in terms of council, it's appended on the regular council meeting, so you'll see it at the end of the agenda. I also want to see it at the end of the committee of the whole agenda. We have it online. We need to make, as we embark on a communications officer, we're going to make that priorities chart more visible in the future. But the chart is just a one-pager.
Yeah.
It just shows the three boxes. It identifies all the priorities. It's pretty simple to read. And what I like about it, we've introduced a new box, complete, and we're going to denote that in green font. So when you see complete, these are items that council's achieved. It comes off the priority list, and then a new priority is inserted. And so you can find it on the agenda or webpage, and you can always give me a call, and I can simply email you a chart. We're going to make this chart more visible. Again, it's just a one-pager.
Yeah, and it's good that way, and I'm glad that you're including the successes at the bottom of the chart so that people can actually see these things haven't disappeared, but this is what we've achieved, this is where we're at. So it's really, I think it's a benefit to everyone, and it reminds all of us, council and staff, listen, this is what we've done. Some of these things are pretty long to get through, and I just appreciate that diligence, that work that we're getting through this sort of stuff, and we've got our nose to the grindstone, getting as much done as we can in a way that's a benefit to the community. So I'm appreciative of that. So Evan, thanks for joining me today. The Strategic Priorities Chart's an excellent tool to map out council's goals, but also our accomplishments. And it really highlights what this council wants to achieve during this term. I encourage everyone to access it on our website at www.revelstoke.ca under Council Goals and Objectives. Thanks as well to our audience for listening in. Be sure to check out our latest videos on the City Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram accounts. And thank you all for taking the time to be here with Evan and I today. Thanks.
Thank you.